All right, this stone is petrified wood, and I don't have a video of me cutting it up, but this is in a pile of stones that I've collected where where my other machines couldn't handle this. It's just way too hard. I think this stone is probably harder than quartz. If it's not harder than quartz, then it's definitely up there. Something that's really cool about this is you can see some of the lines from the wood, maybe some of those rings. This is a really neat piece. But now that I have this new machine, it has a lot more torque, and it has a much higher variable of speeds. I don't know how many, I don't know what these numbers really translate. I think it's like a 90%, like a 10% of maybe the power of the motor, but it can go very fast, and it can do so with a lot of torque. So now this has been sitting for years. I collected this years ago on a riverbed, and so I have a couple of them, but let's see how this new machine does with petrified wood. So I need both hands to put it in the machine, so give me a sec. All right, it's in the machine. Let's get the water going. Probably something like that to start out with. Go ahead and turn it on. All right, I just pulled this petrified wood out of the machine. Let me get a little bit of light here. It turned out great. Wow, some of these, some parts that are black are very deep black. You can see what appears to be some kind of clear crystal that runs through it. It's pretty impressive. It's kind of like a window. You can see a little bit down there, but anyways, it turned out great. The machine turned out great also, or I should say worked out great. And I was able to keep a lot of tension on it, and I was able to turn it up to a very high RPM, and it got the job done, whereas my other machines could not. So far, I'm pretty happy with this machine. It's done a great job. So let's start the process for polishing this petrified wood and go from there. All right, I got the old machine out. I'm gonna start using this as the polisher. These motors just don't have enough torque to do the grind. I'll save that for this motor or this other machine. So I made new cups for this, and people asked me, how do you make those cups? They're just basically some PVC material. They're reducers that you can find in the plumbing section of your hardware store. If you live in America, I got these at Lowe's. You can get them at Home Depot, of course, too. So these are, I think, 2 inches, and I put this fitting on so that the circle here is, I have a screw in there or bolt to use as a stopper, because on these motors there's a flat spot here to keep it from spinning. So that's why that bolt's there. So I've also glued some Velcro here so that I can put my Velcro pads to it and just switch them out like like I did on the other machine, or actually on the other machine. So I'm going to get this set up with 50 grit and start the process. All right, we have the sphere in the machine. Some people have made in the comments about a concern on whether this was plugged into a GFCI, which is a current regulator, and the answer is yes. I should not get electrocuted, and I also have this plugged into a surge protector as well. So I'm going to turn this on. Let me get the water going. That should be enough. All right. All right, let's stop it here and see where we're at. I'm gonna need both hands for this. Okay, it's all finished now. You can see these, you can see like a little bit of striations from the petrified wood, the different grains. This was a 50 grit, so it's still pretty rough. Let me see if I can, there we go. So I hope this polishes well. We'll go to the next phase and see how that looks. All right, 100 grit, here we go. All right, that is time. Time to take a look and see how it's done. All right, it's made quite a bit of difference now. After the first pass, it was very rough, but it's feeling a little bit smoother now. So let's get on to the next one. All right, starting at 400 grit. This will wrap up the 800 grit. Let's take a look. Let's see how it. Yeah, it's getting a little more glossy. Yeah. Yeah, it still kind of has a little bit of a satin finish, but we will put the 1500 grit next and see how that goes. All right, that will do it for a 1500 grit. Let's take a look real quick and kind of move that out of the way so we can get a. Yeah, you can see it has a glossy finish. I think we're still gonna go up one last grit. 3,000 is the highest I have, and I think we're gonna try it and see how that goes. But yeah, this definitely is taking a really good shine. Okay, here is the last round of polish. This is 3,000 grit. All right, this will wrap up the final stages of all the polishing. I ended this with a 3,000 grit, so let's get it cleaned up and look at it under a better light. All right, here we have the final product, this petrified wood. And Something that's interesting about this piece is when I was cutting it on my saw, it smelled like firewood. Yeah, it had a very strong smell of burnt wood, and that might also explain why it's black. This probably became petrified long after maybe this was a tree in a forest fire. Who knows? But yeah, the more I cut into it, the more it smelled like campfire, which was really interesting. You can see all these rings, these fiber rings from when it was a tree, and I looked up what these translucent pieces are or parts are, and apparently as wood becomes petrified, it becomes quartz. Something that's also really interesting. I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit, see if you can see in there. Yeah, it's really interesting being able to have these little windows in there, and just adds variety. I'd like to do another petrified wood in the future. I have so many more projects that I want to show you guys before we get to that. But yeah, this is the petrified wood. It turned out great. It would be nice to know what kind of tree this was, but this was collected from the Western Washington state. So I'm imagining maybe a Douglas fir. There's so much of that over there. So anyways, it turned out great, and I had fun making it. So if you like this video, then subscribe and share this with someone else, some other people who are into petrified wood, and show them what we've made here. All right.